Hello world, Paul Whittakin returning to you with the universal law of numbers, and we'll do some review. The universal law of numbers is the periodic table of numbers because it's the periodic table of the perfect numbers. And we can do mathematics because it's a textbook of mathematics. In fact, it's the textbook of mathematics, and it's very simple to understand. 1 to the 1 times 1 to the 2 is 1 to the 3. 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 2 is 2 to the 3. 5 times 5 to the 2 is 5 to the 3. 8 times 8 to the 2 is 8 to the 3. 2 to the 3 divide 2 to the 2 is 2. 4 to the 3 divide 4 to the 2 is 4. 7 to the 3 divide 7 to the 2 is 7. One times 1 is 1, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 9 is 27, 4 times 16 is 64, 5 times 25 is 125, 6 times 36, 216. 7 times 49, 343. 8 times 64, 512. 9 times 81, 729. X to the 1 times x to the 2 is x to the 3. Two times 4 times 8. 2 times 4 is 8, times 8 is 8 squared, 64. 64. 4 times 16 is 64. 2 to the third times 2. 4 to the third equals 8 to the third. 8 times 64 equals 512. 2 to the fourth times 4 to the fourth is 8 to the fourth. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 to the fifth times 4 to the fifth is 8 to the fifth. 2 to the sixth times 4 to the sixth is 8 to the sixth. 2 to the seventh times 4 to the seventh is 8 to the seventh. 2 to the ninth times 4, 2 to the eighth times 4 to the eighth is 8 to the eighth. 2 to the ninth times 4 to the ninth is 8 to the ninth. 2 to the 10th times 4 to the 10th is 8 to the 10th, etc. $64 divides 16 is 4. 512 divides 64 is 8. 4096 divided 256 is 16. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 squared times 7 squared is 28 squared. 4 to the third times 7 to the third is 28 to the third. 4 to the fourth times 7 to the fourth is 28 to the fourth. 28 squared, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. 28 squared is 784. 16 times 49 is 784. 28 squared is 784. 28 squared squared is 784 squared, which is 2 with 2 more. 1, 2. 784 squared. 784 to the third. 784 to the fourth. 28 squared, 28 to the fourth, 28 to the sixth, 28 to the eighth. The universal law of numbers gives us the perfect cubes, and they follow the code. The perfect cubes will be aligned in this fashion. It's the 147 code and the 818 code. If we want to look at it like this, we can. It's the 396 number and the 639 number. And that only makes sense. Four times 20, 2 times 5 is 10. 1 with 1 0. 4 times 25 is 1 with 2 zeros. 8 times 125 is 1 with 3 zeros. 16 times 6, 25, is 1 with 4 zeros. 32 times 31, 25, is 1 with 5 zeros. 64 times 15, 65, is 1 with 6 zeros. 128 times 78, 125, is 1 with 7 zeros. 2 squared times 5 squared is 10 squared. 2 to the third times 5 to the third is 10 to the third. 2 to the fourth times 5 to the fourth is 10 to the fourth. 2 to the fifth times 5 to the fifth is 10 to the fifth. 2 to the sixth times 5 to the sixth, 10 to the sixth. 2 to the fifth, well, 2 to the seventh times 5 to the seventh is 1, or 10 to the seventh. 2 to the eighth times 5 to the eighth is 10 to the eighth, which is 1 with 8 zeros. 5 times 6 is 30. So 25 times 36, which is 5 squared times 6 squared, is 30 squared. 5 to the third times 6 to the third is 30 to the third. 5 to the fourth times 6 to the fourth is 30 to the fourth. 5 to the fifth times 6 to the fifth is 30 to the fifth. 5 to the sixth times 6 to the sixth is 30 to the sixth. 5 to the seventh times 6 to the seventh is 30 to the seventh. 30 squared, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. 25 times 36 is 9 with 2 zeros. 125 times 216 is 27 with 3 zeros. 625 times 1296 is 81 with 4 zeros. 3125 times 7076 is 243 with 5 zeros. 15625 and 46656 is 729 with 6 zeros. 78125 times 279936 is 2187 with 7 zeros. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3, 27 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 6561 with 8 zeros. Well, that's what's coming next. Doesn't matter. All right. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. So 1 squared times 2 squared is 4, because 2 squared is 4. 1 squared, or 1 to the third times 2 to the third is 8. 1 to the third times 2 to the third is 16. Well, to the fourth is 16. Squared, third, fourth, 2 to the fifth, 2 to the sixth, 2 to the seventh, 2 to the eighth, 256. So 4 is 2 squared, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth, 2 to the fifth, 2 to the sixth, 2 to the seventh, 2 to the eighth, 2 to 9, 2 to 10, 2 to the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and on and on. 4 times 5 is 20. So 16 times 25 is 4 squared times 5 squared is 20 squared. 64 times 125 is 20 to the third, 20 to the fourth, 20 to the fifth, multiply them, 20 to the sixth, 20 to the seventh, it'll go 20 to the eighth, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, etc. 7 times 8 is 56. So 49 times 64, 7 squared times 8 squared, is 56 squared. 7 to the third times 8 to the third, 56 to the third. 7 to the fourth times 8 to the fourth, 56 to the fourth. 7 to the fifth times 8 to the fifth, 56 to the fifth. 7 to the sixth times 8 to the sixth, 56 to the sixth. 56 to the seventh, 56 to the 8th, 9, 10, 11, 12. My name is Paul Whittakin. Peace and happiness to all good people of the world.